What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Uprise post-game show. Or not post-game show, it's a podcast. I already butchered the intro. Eric is not centered, so we gotta get Eric in the center of the screen. Eric, let's go. Move to your
How far off am I?
move to your let's see. My right is your left. Move to your left. All right, there we go. We're good to go. What's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are having a great Friday. Hopefully, I got the day right. No, I'm just kidding. It's Friday. We got back to back in the next couple of days, so we're gonna be live streaming a bit here. Looking forward to this back to back because it is a back to back that the Blazers should win both games. In true honesty, I mean they're going up against the Orlando Magic, who are 12-16, just like the Portland Trail Blazers. They do have Nikola Vucevic back, so a lot of those losses they got without Nikola Vucevic, but I believe they've lost 5 of 6 or 6 of 7. So this is a team that the Portland Trail Blazers should beat. And then tomorrow they got the Timberwolves. That's another game that the Blazers should win. The Timberwolves have a worse record than the Portland Trail Blazers. So this is a pretty crucial back-to-back. Winning both these games will get the Blazers to 14-16. So hopefully they're able to do just that. I'm just looking forward to hopefully some good Blazer basketball tonight. Yeah, I don't know what else to say with the intro. Usually I like having longer intros than that, but we were kind of scrambling before this. Eric jumped up right when I hit the go live button, and then he knocked his camera all around, and we had to figure that out. And then I lost my train of thought, and then I went live, and I had no idea what I was saying. So let's just jump into our picks against the spread, because that's what we always start with.
This is not the post game show.
Yeah, this is not. Dude, I said that, and right when I said that, I knew it was wrong, but it was like I was like on autopilot, as if it was a post game show.
All right, Chat and Tori were both 3-2 on Wednesday, and there were the night featured 3 ties, which is basically a push. So we just ignore those when it's a tie, including the Blazer game, which finished right at 10-point margin. I actually went 5-0, so I have taken the lead back over you at 68-58. You're 66-60, and the chat is 2 games under 500 at 55-57. So they're creeping back in it.
Gotcha.
First game tonight, we took out the 4:00 game, so 4:30 game is Detroit at Boston, and Boston is 8.5-point favorites.
I'm gonna take. My mic fell. I'm gonna take Boston. Give me Boston. I gotta like get in tune with the force or something. I gotta get in tune with my chi or whatever they say.
Hey man, anytime you pick above against the spread and you're above 500, it's good.
Yeah, I'm feeling Boston. Detroit's been crap this season.
Yeah, they have. Not feeling good about that pick preseason.
Who are you picking for that? You didn't even tell me yours.
Oh, I'm picking Boston as well.
Yeah, okay.
Boston has some injuries too, but they've just been playing a lot better than Detroit has. So
yeah.
And then
get those votes in the chat. Let's get those votes in the chat, and then we'll move on. I also just took a nap, and I also just woke up about 20 minutes ago, so I'm still kind of waking up. So hopefully I'm able to wake up. Get my train of thought here. Anyway, we got one vote. Dude, my words, man. One vote for Detroit. Let's move on to the next game. Let's just roll through these.
Okay. Washington at Toronto. Speaking of another very injured team right now, the Raptors are 6.5-point favorites at home.
You said Raptors versus Wizards?
Yeah. Siakam,
Gasol, and who
Powell?
else?
Powell's out too?
I think so, yeah.
All out indefinitely.
That's tough, man. That's a tough game to pick. I'm going to take Washington there. That's still a pretty big point spread. What's up, Leo? What's up, Necron99?
Oh, you taking Washington, you said?
Yeah, taking Washington.
I'm gonna take Toronto. They still always find a way without guys, so I think they'll get it done at home.
Yeah, Marcus Gasol's a lot less effective with less talent around him because he's
Yeah.
not really much of a scorer. He's more of a facilitator, spacer now. Um, Dang, Eric got dressed up for the pod today. I didn't even realize that. Yeah, you are dressed up. Look
I
at
just
you
didn't.
looking all official.
I just didn't change after I got home from work.
I'm wearing a damn Summer League t-shirt. um,
Nice.
anyway, leave your votes for these games in the chat. We had one for Detroit, one for Celtics. So I'm going to flip a coin for that one. Let me know what your guys' pick are for the Raptors game. And what we got next. You there?
Yeah.
I said, what we got next?
Oh, I thought I was waiting for you to let me know what the coin flip
Oh,
is.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. I was just, yeah, we got Celtics for them.
Okay. I thought I was waiting for you.
I was gonna flip it while you went. All right, we gotta
Yeah.
get on the same page here. All right,
All right.
let's pull this together. Anyway,
All right. All right. Next up, we have the Knicks are in Miami, and Miami is 8.5-point favorites.
Miami Knicks suck.
Agreed.
I love how our analysis for this games has gotten less and less and less. Knicks suck. Miami. That's what you guys get now.
I mean, that's all you really have to say.
True.
It looks like chat's going with Toronto.
Yep.
Before. All right, next up we have Dallas in Philadelphia tonight, and Philly is 8-point favorites.
Philadelphia just lost at home. Dallas is without Luka, but I'm gonna take Dallas with the points.
Okay.
They've played solid without Luka. Sadly,
That got you the other night.
yeah. I'm hoping. Well, yeah, that was Celtics. Celtics ended up winning that game by 6. So Dallas with 8 points. I feel like that's a big spread. I feel like they can cover that spread.
I'm gonna take Philly. I'm gonna ride and die with the Dallas is gonna be bad, and they're just without Luke at least.
I'm hoping, man. It would be fun to see that team cascade down the standings back towards us. We got 3 votes for Miami.
Okay. All right. Next up, we have Phoenix at OKC tonight, and OKC is favored by 3 points.
I'm gonna take Devin Booker's back, but I'm gonna take OKC. Let me sync up your. Okay, I synced up your camera. Your camera wasn't synced. There we go. Yeah, I'm taking OKC. I haven't really bet for OKC this season, even though they were one of my sure over bets for win totals at the start of the season. That's looking pretty good right now, I think, because I think I picked them as an over 32 win team. It would be nice to see them lose, because then if the Blazers win, wait, no, Sacramento's in 8th, Thunder is in 7th. If the Blazers win, the Thunder lose, then the Blazers would be a half game out of 7th, which would be cool to see. But I think the Thunder win that game.
Yeah, I'm also taking OKC. I'm gonna ride that. I don't think Philly is as good as they've been, and they've kind of struggled lately too.
Yep.
All right. Looks like
We got coin flipper for Dallas Philly. We got Dallas. There we go.
Dallas was the winner.
Yes, sir.
It's never good when chat goes with you.
Yeah, I mean, chat's not really going with anything.
Yeah.
I'm assuming notifications probably didn't get sent out for this podcast. I don't know. I probably set it up. I don't know. Maybe it's something with the setup.
I got one. Hey, it's not 5. Oh.
Yeah, I don't understand what that means.
I think he's saying he's used to him being later since we don't start early very much.
I know. I wanted to get time to edit the mailbag. Earlier today, I was sorting out issues with my mic, man. Like, I kind of burnt myself out because I was getting frustrated. My mic would not be recognized by my computer. So I spent, like, an hour or two just trying to figure out why my mic wasn't being recognized by my computer. I finally fixed it, recorded a mailbag for the second time. It's a lot harder to record something for a second time because when you record it first, everything you're saying is fresh. And then the second time, it's like you kind of feel like you're just repeating stuff you said. So it just doesn't feel natural. So it was a tough recording. Didn't sleep well last night, so it's been a rough day for me, but hopefully it gets better with this game tonight.
He said the notification came up as going live at 5.
It showed up live as 5. Yeah, that's probably why. Josh Christensen says, "Sorry, driving right now," with a beer emoji. Okay, hopefully you're not mixing the beer with the driving, and also be safe. Be safe while driving, man. Be safe out there. We got votes for OKC against Phoenix.
All right, next up is a bit of an interesting point spread. We have the struggling Minnesota Timberwolves at the also kind of struggling Denver Nuggets, even though they've won a couple in a row now. And the point spread is 10 in favor of Denver. I'm going to take the points with Minnesota on this one.
I'm going to take Denver with the spread. I'm going to take Denver with the spread. Minnesota's been struggling. That's in Denver, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to take Denver there.
Reed said he needs to drink some milk.
I don't even drink milk, so maybe that's it, man. I used to not eat dairy. So I always thought it would be weird to drink milk, so I never drink milk. Now I eat dairy, like I eat chocolate or stuff with like milk in it, whatever. But I won't drink straight up milk. I haven't drank milk in a while. If I do drink milk, it's soy milk. But I haven't drinking milk I haven't even drinking that in like a year. So.
And you said you're picking Denver?
Yep. We got Wolves picks in the chat.
All right.
Finally getting more picks.
Okay. The second to last game today is New Orleans is 1.5 point favorites in Golden State.
I'm going to take Golden State. 1.5 point favorites for New Orleans is a bit much.
Yeah.
I believe they lost 12 in a row. I don't know if they broke that losing streak, but New Orleans hasn't been able to win in general. I'm surprised they're favored in Golden State.
Yeah, they won their last game. But
okay, yeah, I'm surprised that they're favored in Golden State. I feel like that's an easy Golden State pick.
As
easy of a Golden State pick as you'll find.
That was against the Timberwolves. Yeah, I'm also taking Golden State at home. I thought they showed some scrap against us the other night. And, you have Russell and Draymond Green, those guys, they haven't given up on the season yet, even though the team overall sucks. So those guys can win games. All right. Do we have any votes in chat yet?
We got two
for New Orleans.
Three for the Pels.
All right. So chat's going against us, a chance to either gain a game or lose a game. All right, finally we have the Orlando Magic at our Portland Trailblazers, and we are 4.5 point favorites tonight. I'm gonna take the Blazers. I think they win tonight, and if they do, I think they can win by at least 5. So.
I think the Blazers are going to win by 2, so I'm going to take Orlando with the points there.
All right.
I don't think the Blazers will make it easy on us and win by more than 4.
Yeah.
So. And if they do, great. I'll be ecstatic. But given how they played versus the Golden State Warriors, if they play like that, man, they're not going to win this game. So, and we'll get into this game because this is basically a game preview. I'm just looking. We got Rip City votes. Yeah, I just put down Blazers for that. I'd be shocked if somebody rolls with Orlando.
All right, that's it for tonight.
So going into this game tonight, Jonathan Isaac is questionable. Other than that, I think all their rotation guys are healthy. Other than Al Farouk Aminu, it kind of sucks that we don't get to watch Aminu. I was looking forward to watching Aminu, so he doesn't get his Portland return because he's out with a torn meniscus, so he's out for a while, which sucks for Chief. Jonathan Isaac is questionable as well. That's two very long defenders that would give our guards problems. Jonathan Isaac could end up being a problem. They start Evan Fournier at the 2, but he's definitely big enough to slide over and guard Bazemore at the 3. So you'd probably see Jonathan Isaac on one of our guards, probably Dame, and that's the perfect type of defender to put on Damian Lillard. Because the dude's like quick laterally, he's long, lanky. Jonathan Isaac is one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA. He's like 6'10", 6'11", as small forward. Like that type of defender is the type of defender that Dame struggles with. And with the way the offense has been going, if they end up having to rely on Dame breaking down the defense off the dribble, he's going to have a hard time against a guy like Jonathan Isaac. And that's the thing, is usually when teams would slide over that small forward onto one of our guards defensively, we would have Rodney Hood in the past that'd be able to punish one of the guards that'd be guarding him. Because that's the thing, if you have a small forward like Jonathan Isaac guard one of the guards, you have to have one of your guards guard the small forward, which was Rodney Hood. He'd make him pay. You see it with the Denver Nuggets putting Torrey Craig, their small forward, on Dame, and then Jamal Murray on Rodney Hood. We saw it in the playoffs, and Rodney Hood made quick work of that. Rodney Hood being 6'8", having a size advantage. We don't have Rodney Hood anymore. We have Kent Bazemore, who's 3 inches shorter than Rodney Hood, a little longer wingspan. But he's not a guy who's going to punish anybody. And at the same time, Evan Fournier is a really big shooting guard. He's like 6'7". So that's the thing, is there won't be any matchup advantage in our favor that'll stop Orlando from putting Jonathan Isaac on one of our guards. So I'm hoping he doesn't play, because that could end up being a very tough problem.
Just to let you know, he is playing. He's not even listed on the injury report today. So
okay, I was looking at the game thread, so I blame dark
webs.
Yep, that's the guy who makes our game threads. And honestly, more often than not, I look at the injury report on those.
Well, he just does it based off of like whatever it is when he does the thread. So
yep. And then on the other end, Jonathan Isaac could post him up, because Kent Bazemore is a bit undersized. Jonathan Isaac has a 5 to 6 inch advantage over Kent Bazemore. The thing is when you look at posting up a small forward, then you have to worry about spacing with your bigs. If you have a big that can't shoot, maybe 2 bigs that can't really shoot, stretch it out to 3, then it's tough to post up one of your perimeter players. But they got 2 bigs that can shoot the 3. They got Aaron Gordon, who's not a good 3-point shooter, but he's okay enough to space the floor. And then they got Vucevic, who's a solid 3-point shooter. So they could look to potentially post up. I'm kicking my mic on. They could look to potentially post up Jonathan Isaac on Kent Bazemore. It'll be interesting to see if they resort to that, because Jonathan Isaac, I don't think he's much of a post-up guy, but that's such an advantage for him, and he'd have good spacing to work with. That'll be interesting to see if they do that.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that's not aggressive on offense at all, so like even when he has a mismatch, he hasn't learned how to effectively use that to his advantage. I mean, he does sometimes, but like it's not like he's ever blown up for games like this. Like you think he should have a great game, and it's not like he scores 30 points ever or anything, So yeah, he's a tough matchup problem, but you just got to hope he's like Batum and not really being aggressive. Someone's asking about Little in the chat.
Tommy Thompson said Little is not on the injury list. Mario is questionable, so shout out Tommy Thompson for the up-to-date information.
It's actually he got it backwards.
Shout out to Tommy Thompson for getting it wrong.
Hazonia is playing, and Little is questionable, so they haven't announced whether he's playing or not. But they announced he was going to play on Wednesday, and he didn't play.
Yeah, I appreciate the effort there, Tommy.
He just had him backwards.
Yeah. Little needs to play over Mario when he comes back. If he's still banged up, then fine, don't play him. But Little needs to play over Mario. They don't play Little as small forward, which is something I have a problem with. Especially when you have like Melo playing a ton of minutes at power forward, especially with Scal playing a little bit of power forward now. I feel like you could play Little at a little bit of power forward. So like you have Melo playing 30 plus minutes per game, and then the backup power forward is a little bit of little bit of Scal Labissiere, and then the backup small forward I think should be Nasir Little because and I think it should be staggered in a way so that Nasir Little is basically playing small forward next to Carmelo Anthony, since I think their games complement each other. Carmelo Anthony being a floor spacing stretch four, Nasir Little being not really much of a floor spacer, but a energy hustle guy defender at the small forward position when he would be in there with Melo. You wouldn't even have to necessarily designate one as the small forward, one as the power forward. Little would probably just guard the best forward, and then they'd kind of play their roles offensively. That's what needs to happen. If we're not going to make a move, that's the rotation we need to go with. In that rotation, we wouldn't have to rely on Anthony Tolliver, and we wouldn't have to rely on Mario Hezonja.
Yeah, I've been saying that since we started having huge rebounding problems. Why does Little always have to play the power forward? Like if you're having rebounding problems because you only have one true center in the game, then it makes sense to have a bigger small forward and power forward. So I wish they would at least try it. I don't know if Little's played many minutes at all at small forward this year, so it's kind of like
Terry Stotts said that's what he was practicing mainly before the season and at the start of the season. And then when they had Zach Collins go down, they kind of moved him over to power forward, and now it doesn't seem like they want to move him back.
But it's like the last few years with Aminu, like they never played him at small forward. They always went small with him at the power forward, and it was effective a lot of the times. But
and I get viewing a guy as like a power forward there, but when you have a lot of injuries and he would be the better option at small forward than other guys, then move him down, play him at small forward if he's the better option. Don't pigeonhole him as only a power forward.
Exactly.
That was the problem with Scal this season, is they kind of pigeonholed him as only a center. Now they kind of started to go away from that, play him with Hassan Whiteside a little bit. Scal's been good this season, so that's the thing. I want Whiteside to get like 32 minutes per game right now, but Scal I think deserves more than 16 minutes per game, which is all that would be left over at backup center.
Yeah.
So he should play some power forward minutes too, because he's a much better option than what else we have at power forward. He's a better option at power forward than Little, than Hezonja, and then Tolliver. And then Little is a better small forward option than Hezonja and Tolliver, so he should be playing there. It'll be interesting to see what he does with this rotation going forward. But that is definitely what I do. I think that is definitely the way to go there.
And War of Mankind's asking, why doesn't Scal shoot the three more? I don't know if that's by design or something that he's just not confident shooting it as much as he could be. His first year that he played major minutes on Sacramento, he shot a lot of threes, I think. Not a lot, but I mean, he would at least shoot some. He rarely shoots some unless he's wide open now. But you never see him like catch the ball looking to shoot when he's open out there. He has to catch the ball, and then if no one comes out on him, then sometimes they'll let it fly. But yeah, I would like to see him shoot some more threes too.
Yep.
What about Whiteside? You want to see him shoot some more threes? He's 100%.
Shoot until he misses them, I guess. Whiteside is his shot looks better. His mid-range, I think, has been more efficient than it's ever been. His free throw shooting has been more efficient than it's ever been. Maybe let him shoot a couple more threes. I mean, it doesn't look great, but that shot went in, and it does look better than what it used to.
Yeah.
I don't know. Not early in the clock, but like if he catches the ball and there's less than 10 on the shot clock and the play is not developing, then screw it. He the one he made too was like early in the clock. It kind of surprised me that he took it. It was like 14-15 on the clock, top of the key. Didn't really hesitate, just caught it, let it fly. So that three really surprised me, but he hit it. He knocked it down.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I don't want. if we're gonna pick a big to shoot threes though, Scal needs to shoot,
Yeah.
man. Scal definitely needs to shoot. It's been something I've been saying all season long. I don't understand why he's not shooting. He's had good shooting seasons before in his career. He has a really good stroke. I don't understand why it's not being utilized.
Yeah, for sure. And Reed's asking, can we talk about how bad Ant's been lately? Um, it's something we've been very strong about, at least myself. I think you feel the same way that, yes, Ant's struggling bad, but this will pay dividends letting him work through it on the court versus not. I don't think benching him solves anything. It'll just ruin his confidence, and it'll make his development a lot longer if we don't let him work it out on the court versus just in practice and stuff.
Yeah, his shot's not falling, and then he's shying away from contact and stopping his drives early for floaters when he could get to the rim. That's basically the problems that I've seen offensively. He's struggling defensively, but he's very young, so I'm not really putting too much weight on that.
Real quick about that. So he often gets criticism for defense, but he's usually guarding like the best guard when he's in the game.
Yeah.
And Dame and CJ don't have to do that. Like right now, they have Bazemore on that. Early in the season, it was Hood who usually guarded. Like if we're playing the Nuggets or Brooklyn, and Jamal Murray or Kyrie Irving, like Ant's been guarding those guys when he's in the game when they're in, and so it's a little frustrating when I see someone ragging on his defense when he's being held to like having to actually guard good players when a lot of our other guards don't have to do that,
Yeah. I mean, he gives effort on defense. That's all you can ask for. He tries. A lot of times he kind of gets lost off the ball, lost in rotations and whatnot. But I think that's to be expected from a guy who never played college basketball.
Yeah.
This would basically be his rookie year if he did play the year of college that pretty much everybody does. So that's the thing, is those types of guys that are that young are going to struggle with those types of things. So I'm not worried about Ant. I talked about him in the mailbag that I'll upload later tonight or tomorrow.
One other thing real quick. So Reed says he's concerned about the one-on-one stuff. We talked about this at the game a little bit. So I feel like the coaching staff is trying to get him to be aggressive and get his confidence going, and they want him to attack and be because he seems like kind of a quiet kid sometimes. Not that he's not cocky or confident or anything, but he just seems like kind of like what we were talking about with Jonathan Isaac sometimes, where he can get like probably in modes where he just kind of is out there and doesn't be aggressive. So they're trying to get him to be aggressive, but the problem is like he takes that to mean try to attack and do stuff, and sometimes it seems like he is going 1-on-4 and stuff and not really looking for teammates and stuff. So it's kind of a hard balance between trying to teach him how to score in the NBA and then but like you can't really hold him back from doing that either. And we're not a team that moves the ball well anyway, so it's not like it's not like everyone else is moving the ball great and it just stops when it goes to Anthony, because it's like a whole team problem. I don't necessarily blame.
He's not ruining ball movement.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's not helping ball movement. He's kind of stopping, he's isolating a lot, going one-on-one a lot, but yeah, it's not hurting our ball movement. And he doesn't seem like a guy who, when the team is moving the ball well, will kill ball movement.
Right.
He seems like he kind of fits within that, and when the team is stagnant, he goes one-on-one. It's the same way with a guy like Carmelo Anthony. CJ is the type of guy who I feel like would kill ball movement. He's a bit of a ball stopper. I don't think Melo is like that. I think a lot of times Melo isolates when the offense is already stagnant, and a lot of times I think Anthony isolates when the offense is already stagnant. So the context there I feel like matters, because there's certain guys that do isolate a lot, but they don't really hurt a good brand of basketball if the ball's moving, and there's guys that do hurt ball movement.
And this is the problem with our offense not creating shots for people. It's dependent on guys creating shots. So um, when it's like that and our second unit is as bad as it is, like not getting any points, they're trying to like force Anthony into being a scorer to help our bench, but he's just not ready yet. It's frustrating because it's not like he has guys cutting to the basket or off ball movement happening to free up guys and he's just avoiding them, right? He's just trying to make the most out of it. Like there was a couple times in the last game where he got the ball with like 7. At that point, he's got to make something happen. He can't just wait for someone else to do something. But like I said, his shot's not falling right now, so it's just frustrating. If he just hit like a cut, like was more in the upper 40% shooting and maybe a little higher on his threes like it was at the beginning of the season, it wouldn't even be noticeable, I don't think.
I mean, we saw him have a good, like, 5-6 game stretch. The fact that he strung together, like, multiple games like that in a row earlier in the season was promising. We know that he can do that because he's done it. I feel like there's just going to be a game where he breaks out of his slump and has, like, a 20-point game on, like, 7 for 12 shooting or something like that with, like, 3 or 4 threes. And everybody's going to be loving it, and it's going to really help our bench out, and it's going to be a difference maker in that game. I feel like there's just going to be a game like that where things click. It might not be tonight, and he's going to struggle until he has that game, but I feel like that game is coming somewhat soon. I feel like before the end of December, we'll get a game like that from Anthony.
Did you see what War of Mankind said?
What did he say?
So does Dame. Say it how it is, Tori. It's not just CJ. Dame is a ball stopper to an extent.
Dame is not a Dame is not a ball stopper.
Y'all got to hold Dame accountable.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that, man. Dame doesn't isolate as much as people think. I don't understand why Dame doesn't isolate much. CJ isolates like at least twice as much as Dame does. Dame runs a lot of pick and roll. Portland's offense is basically a ton of pick and roll involving Dame. Like, that's their philosophy.
Yeah.
He doesn't sit here and pound the ball in isolation like a CJ does or James Harden does. I don't know why my stream was lagging a bit, but he doesn't sit here and pound the ball, in my opinion. And he makes a lot of passes. He makes a lot of plays. He sparks a lot of ball movement. He had 13 assists against the Golden State Warriors. A lot of times the team relies on him creating something downhill in order to spark ball movement, to spark open shots for players. A lot of times he has to collapse the defense, and a lot of times it doesn't come off of him playing off the ball and then catching a pass and then attacking because he's not really used off the ball in Stotts' system. So a lot of it is him having to create off the dribble. The thing is, he does that at a high level without isolating or pounding the ball that much, especially given how much he has to create off the dribble. I don't think Dame is a ball stopper at all. I disagree with you on that one.
Yeah, he's averaging a career high 7.6 assists per game. He's never been over 7 in his career, so he's obviously doing better. Yes, he's playing a minute more, but that's averaging 0.7 assists in a minute more of action is sharing the ball. Like, if you equate that out, it's sharing the ball more than he has.
Yeah.
His people always talk about his teammates.
Yeah. The People's Mix just said Dame is top 5 in ISO and is in third in ISO scoring, so you are wrong, T. What percentage is he top 5 in the percentage of his possessions that are isolation? Because he uses a lot of possessions and he plays a ton of minutes. So I'm not surprised that he's top 5 in isolation.
Yeah,
I don't
probably
think that takes away from my point.
ISOs per game, not how many times he has the ball that he ISOs.
Yeah, because he has a very high usage rate. He has the ball in his hands a lot, like a ton. The offense is basically put the ball in Dame's hands and make him work. So he could be top 5 in pick and rolls, which wouldn't surprise me. He could be top 5 in ISOs, top 5 in multiple categories like this. The thing is, he can also isolate without really like stopping the ball, if that makes sense. A ball stopper is a guy who sits there and isolates for like 5, 6, 7 seconds, pounding the ball, trying to chain together all these moves. Somebody like CJ, somebody that catches the ball and kind of like squares up, faces up, jab steps, then maybe rips through and goes. I think that's probably counted as an isolation possession, but that's not really stopping the ball. So that's a thing. That doesn't mean that, him being top 5 in isolations according to whatever website doesn't mean that he's a ball stopper. There's some context there that needs to be considered.
Yeah, he's saying percentage, but I'm gonna try to look this up real quick.
Go ahead.
The other thing is Dame is also averaging a career high in potential assists. So that factors out your teammates or if players make shots or anything like that.
And if somebody stops the ball to isolate and then creates good passing opportunities, good shots for other teammates, is that really stopping the ball? You know what I mean? He stops the ball for a little bit, but then he creates some ball movement. He kicks out, collapses the defense, kicks out, gets the defense to rotate, and that sparks ball movement. The thing is, CJ doesn't really make those passes, and CJ pounds the ball a lot more. So that's why I think CJ is a bit more of a ball stopper than a guy like Dame. I don't think Dame's really a ball stopper.
So, all right, just some context here. Okay, I'm on NBA.com for frequency of isolation, right? So Damian is 4th in the NBA in frequency of isolation, but it's 19.2%. So it's less than a fifth of the time he isolates. Meanwhile, you have James Harden at 42%. So that's two.
What's CJ at?
Hold on, let me find him. So that's two out of every 5 times, more than 2 out of every 5 times he has the ball, he isolates and doesn't get a pick or anything like that. So we're 4 out of 5 times Dame is not isolating when he gets the ball. So he might be top 5 in the NBA, but that doesn't mean he's a ball stopper. It just means he has the ball so much. Sometimes he does, like some plays like when he pulls up and shoots a 3-point shot without passing, that's an isolation play or a considered one. So every time he does that counts.
I think what's most like what would be more telling would be dribbles per isolation possession. How many dribbles does somebody take per isolation possession?
They have CJ at 15.2%.
Yeah, but CJ's probably like 6 dribbles per isolation possession. You know what I mean? Dame's probably like 2 or 3.
And then so it's 4.7 possessions per game for Damian. That's what it says.
Yeah.
So out of all the times he has the ball, it's less than 5 a game that he isolates. So I don't know.
Anyway, the last thing I wanted to talk about on this podcast, because we're gonna wrap this up. We'll be live later tonight. Tune in for the post-game show. But the last thing I wanted to cover is that it's been officially proposed that the NBA wants an in-season tournament.
No.
With the motivation for players being a $1 million bonus, which I don't see how that's motivation for a guy like LeBron, who's 35 and making $40 million a year. So you're talking about like that's like a week's worth of pay for LeBron. That's like a week and a half worth of pay. When Dame's making $52 million a year or whatever, and in a couple years from now, 3-4 years from now, whenever that is, that's going to be a week's worth of pay for Dame. You think that's really going to motivate players? It's not going to motivate players. I don't understand why the NBA is doing this. I don't want a mid-season tournament. Fans don't even want a mid-season tournament. That's what I don't understand. Fans don't want a mid-season tournament. They don't want games to be short. They don't want the season to be shortened to 78 games. I'm not a fan of that. Keep it at 82 or I don't even want it shortened. 82 is what it's always been. I think 82 is a fine number. The season is a bit of a marathon, but I think 82 is a fine number. I don't think, we're really going to change much in terms of guys getting hurt. If we play 68 games or 72 games compared to 82 games. We look at the injuries we've already had this season. Stuff happens. I don't want to shorten the season, but a mid-season tournament just seems gimmicky. And what I would compare it to is, it seems like something NASCAR would do if they ran the NBA. Now, a lot of people in here probably aren't familiar with NASCAR, but NASCAR has gotten more and more gimmicky. But the thing is, NASCAR needed to try and like freshen up the sport. Like their attendance rates and viewership rates were plummeting drastically the past decade and a half or so. So they needed to come up with some sort of playoff system to, make the end of the season interesting. A guy could win a championship 2 races before the end of the season, and he could run away with the championship before the end of the season. So now they created like this knockout format. If you guys are interested in like learning about it, you can check it out. But basically, NASCAR's just gotten gimmicky. But the thing is, they had to get gimmicky. What I don't understand is this is such a gimmicky thing for the NBA to do, and they don't need to do it. Like, this seems like such a desperate thing. Like, I get that they're trying to be creative, but fans don't want it. I don't think players really care for it. I don't understand what the reasoning is for this damn tournament, man.
I like the idea you kind of came up with the last time we talked about this, and that was like having a day where like every team plays like a rivalry game or something in a weird spot. And it can be, you play several teams only 3 times, right? So all the teams you play 3 times, instead of having like sometimes 2 games in one place and one at your home arena, you could have that 3rd game for the teams who only play 3rd time be at a neutral site. And that would be cool because
yeah.
And then just have the teams like split the revenue or whatever, or like you could designate one team as the home team. But like you said, to play a game like,
I wouldn't even say it necessarily would have to be between the teams playing 3 times. But
right.
Yeah, that you could work out something.
But I mean, that's like, I think that's 10 games or so. Maybe not 10. It might only be 5 games. I was just thinking how to do it like
but you could also you could also do it where you play 2 teams 4 times in your division or whatever. Say one of those teams you play twice at home, once on the road, once on a neutral court. The other team you'd play twice on the road, once at home, once on a neutral court. That would balance itself out. Yeah. You know what I mean? You could balance it out that way. It wouldn't have to be between teams you only play 3 times. But yeah, that's what I do, man. Like you look at Dallas Mavericks after the football season is over. Wouldn't it be cool to see them play in Cowboy Stadium? Just like a big atmosphere like that. Like just to like, if you're trying to freshen things up, don't mess with the structure of the league. Like just change a venue. Have like a rivalry game in a big venue that like suits the rivalry. Dallas against Houston or whoever. Dallas against OKC, like a regional rivalry like that. Like imagine if Seattle had, like, imagine if their baseball stadium or their football stadium was actually like fully enclosed and the Seattle Supersonics were still a team.
Well, I mean
that would be a good team for the Portland Trailblazers to play against in a rivalry game there.
Well, you could even do that because I mean they had a preseason game there. I think it was 2 years ago, and the city went like crazy for it. So like they could do stuff like that. Like it doesn't even have to be the Blazers, but you could have whatever team Durant's on that year or something like. But I'm sure if the NBA showed up, it would sell out, and they could have all these possibilities.
I mean, you could come up with so many cool. I mean, you look at Phoenix. Phoenix, like, try and play it outdoor. Los Angeles in April, if I don't know, maybe you could play it on a aircraft carrier or something. I don't know. Like that I feel like is too creative. College basketball has done that. Maybe not. That's more of a preseason game type thing. Like I'd want the venue to be bigger, but you could come up with some cool, different venues. Lakers versus I don't know, another team in Las Vegas, because the Lakers can pack Las Vegas. You have that at the MGM Grand or something. You know, you have that on the Strip in Las Vegas. The Lakers playing. Maybe you have it in T-Mobile Arena. I don't know. Like, that would be something that would be cool, and it would feel like special just because it would be a different venue. Yeah. I don't know. You could come up with different stuff like that, and it wouldn't seem gimmicky, you know.
And when Zion's back, he could probably sell out any arena across the U.S. You know, if he was coming to town to play.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
that'd be cool on like a famous playground, like Watts Playground or Rucker Park or something.
Yeah.
Because
that's the thing. That's
baseball does that with the Little League Stadium. They have a game each year that's on at the Little League Series.
Yeah, I mean you're straying too far away with that. But you could definitely, I don't know, man.
Did you see Bill Simmons' idea?
What was it?
So he proposed a 72-game regular season, and then having two, he called them cups during the season. But so after 35 games, the top 14 teams would play in what he called the Russell Cup after Bill Russell. And he said it would be in New York, which that could change, I guess. But so he said the top seed in each conference would get a bye, and then the other 12 play each other to pare it down to 6, and then you have 8 left. And he basically said, like, how it would work is each team gets, like, the first round and the second round count as one win if you win a game. And then if you get further, like, I think the championship game was worth, like, 4 points or 4 wins. So, like, it would be more like a hockey system. So, like, if you're 50 and 22 at the end of the regular season, but you won that tournament, you would get 58 points instead of 50. And then
that's the only way to, like, truly incentivize teams. Right. I feel like the money I don't think is going to do it. But if you're talking about, because that's the thing is you have to reward a team for winning. If you just do it where, like, okay, the team that loses will play another team that loses, and then that game counts as normal, then it's like, okay, why not lose the first game? Then you get to play an easy team and probably win. And that would be the same as a team winning the first game and then going up against a tough team and then losing. You know what I mean? So you don't really reward the teams for advancing further in the tournament when it's all said and done. So, yeah, that would be the only way to make it work in terms of incentivizing teams is to make each round worth like 2 wins, then 3 wins, then 4 wins, because then you're adding more and more positivity to your record and you're making the games more and more important. But that's still gimmicky to me.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing he brought up on that one, I don't want any midseason tournament, but if they were going to do it, I prefer something like that. But the way he had it was that, so, like, after 30 games, you're going to have several teams jockeying to try to make the tournament, right? So you, like, these next few games, what are we at? 28 games, so we have 7. We'd have 7 games left till the tourney.
Let me just respond to this because he's spamming chat. The People's Mix, I can't play other YouTube clips because that makes it possible for my video to get copyright claimed and me to run it into issues with that. And since it's a live stream, that could create a strike on my channel, which I think would stop me from live streaming for 90 days. So I'm not going to play the Bill Russell clip or the Bill Simmons clip.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on.
But so you have, let me just see the standings. So we're at 28 games. So you'd have 7 games left till you have to be in the top 14. And if we break it down by league, let's see. I was just going to see if it's even possible. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So the Thunder are the 14th team right now. If it went by league wide. So we'd be a game and a half out. So these next 7 games would be like, oh, can we make up a game and a half to make the tourney? Like, that'd be kind of fun, I guess. But yeah, I don't know.
The thing is, though, is it punishes teams for a harder early season schedule.
Right.
because they missed out on a chance to rack up a bunch of wins by advancing in the tournament. So you do punish teams because the schedule, the smaller the sample size, the more variation there will be between difficulty of schedule for different teams. If you play one game, one team could play, I don't know, the Pelicans at home, and another team could play the Bucks on the road. Like this differential there is huge. It evens itself out over an 82 game season. So if you're talking about doing a cup 35 games in with only the top 14 teams, you're putting more and more emphasis on an imbalance of schedule, which I don't think is a good thing. And then you get into like what the records are at the end of the season. I mean, you're talking about what 1, 3, 6, 10. You're talking about the potential of a team. Whatever team wins it adds 10 wins. If you do a 1, 2, 3, 4, that's a bit too much emphasis on the midseason tourney, and it's just gimmicky. It's just not a good thing, man. They shouldn't do this. They especially shouldn't do the reseeding of the final 4 teams. Like, that makes no sense. You're gonna just make there be no conference championship, and then you could have 2 teams from the Eastern Conference play in the finals. Like, what? That's so stupid. That is maybe even dumber than anything, because what does that do? Like, some seasons it won't make a difference. Like, what does that do, man? I don't understand that.
It's so I just saw something from Woj saying that the owners are concerned with revenue loss from having an in-season tourney. So good. Hopefully that crushes it.
Hopefully that I mean, because you're paying a lot of you're paying like, the thing is, coaches would get paid too, so like $1.5 million or something crazy. You're talking about like shoveling out, $20-30 million as prize money, and you're talking about cutting back on some games. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Captain Cap'n says a 29 game season, but that would be the only way to do it, is if you played each team once and did it after 29 games. So then everyone's played each team one time, but then you have probably harder home versus, I don't know, I agree with you. I really hope this gets nipped in the butt. It'd be cool to have like a preseason tourney or something, kind of like set up preseason like summer league or something, but not actual games that count. It's dumb.
I am a fan. The only thing I'm a fan of is the play-in for 7 and 8 seed.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think that's going to be what the owners favor the most, because that will add revenue, because it will add high stakes games.
Yep.
It also doesn't seem too gimmicky. It's just kind of like a little, I don't know. You're talking about, what was it? How would they do it? 7 versus 8, and the loser would play the winner of 9 versus 10.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. If you end up being 7th, you'd get 7 versus 8, and that would get you the 7th seed, and you'd have that game at home. So 7th over 8th would be important, because the 7th seed would get that game at home over the 8th seed. So that would create some noticeable differential between 7th and 8th, more than there already is. And then 8th versus 9th, that's like the difference in making or missing the playoffs. You'd still have some differential there, because the 8th seed would play the 7th seed. If they win, they're in. If they lose, they can still play the 9th or 10th seed, and they would have home court advantage for that final game to try and get in. There would be differential with 9 over 10, since that 9 versus 10 game, the loser is done. The winner gets to play the loser of 7 versus 8 to try and get in. The 9 seed would have home court advantage over the 10 seed. So it creates differential at each seeding level. It also might decentivize tanking. If a team's like 11th, they could be thinking, you know what, maybe we can get into the playoffs. All we have to do is get to 10th and then win a couple games, a couple playing games, and then we're in the playoffs. So let's try and do that instead of trying to lose games to get 13th in the conference to maybe have a little better lottery odds. So like, they've flattened out the lottery odds. And then if they did that, I think that would be a good way to disincentivize tanking. And then those games would be entertaining as well. one do or die games between teams that normally aren't playing for something in the playoffs that are probably going to get ran in the first round. The fact that they are playing do or die games against similar teams, last year you would have had the Kings versus, I forget who was 10th.
Lakers.
Yeah, you'd have the Kings versus the Lakers. Can the Lakers play their way in with LeBron? And then 8 for 7, I forget the seedings last year. I think it was like Spurs and somebody else, but I don't know. That would be a good idea, I think.
Yeah, the only thing that I don't really like it, but that means that 2/3 of the team have a chance to make the playoffs. I think.
But they're play-in games.
Yeah, but you're just talking about how it de-incentivizes tanking a little bit, but I think it kind of devalues the regular season. Obviously, you don't want to be 9th or 10th in that scenario, but
yeah. I don't think it does, because I think it creates more of an emphasis on trying to get in the top 6. Right now, the emphasis is like, okay, make the playoffs by being in the top 8, and
That's
trying
true.
to get a better seed so you face an easier opponent. But then it would be like, get in the top 6 so like you don't have to play-in games to get into the first round. So it just depends on how you look at it. Then it would only be 40% of the league wouldn't have to play playoff games, would be already in the first round. You know what I mean? And then you can look at it like, okay, so 20 teams would have a chance, 10 from each conference would have a chance, like at the end of the regular season, to play in. But that keeps interest throughout the season too for fan bases. Like, I don't hate that, just as long as like the 10th place team, they have to win 2 games on the road over teams that did better than them during the regular season. And that's the thing too, is I don't think it suffices the regular season, because as I said, each seed matters for those play-in games, because 7 and 8, they just have to win 1 of 2 games. 9 of 10, they basically have to win both games, but then 7 and 9 for those first games would get home court advantage, which would matter in a do or die game like that. So I think that it still has enough emphasis on the regular season for teams to try and get the top 6, or then for a team to get 8th over 9th.
I
don't know.
I mean, we went through this already, so I won't rehash it, but I feel like the Kings and the Lakers didn't deserve to have a chance in the playoffs last year. They finished 9+ games behind the playoff spot. So I just think it's kind of BS if seasons like that where teams
I mean, the Lakers were injured, so
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's the thing. If we ended up like 10th, like because of injuries, I feel like our fans would be like, "Oh, we deserve it's not that we don't deserve a chance. We were just injured." I thought the Kings deserved a chance. I feel like the Kings kind of like fell apart at the end of the year, in part because they didn't have a chance at making the playoffs. So I feel like their record would have been a little bit better if they were playing for playing games, and that was a team that surprised everybody. A young team, I feel like they deserved a chance to, like, okay, if you can win 2 games in a row, a game at home, and then beat the 7th or 8th seed, whichever team loses, if you can beat them on the road, then yes, you can get into the playoffs. Like, I think they still have to earn it. They still have to win 2 games.
What would have happened was they would have played all their players on the last night of season, then the full game, and we would have lost, and we would have had to play Utah in the first round, and we wouldn't have.
That's you're arguing a butterfly effect.
I'm just kidding.
By Terry Stotts trying to lose that game in the first place.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm actually a really, really big fan of that. Everything else can go. Everything else, throw it in the trash. That's garbage.
The People's Mix, aren't you a Lakers fan?
You see?
I don't know. If he's the guy on Twitter I'm thinking of, then yeah.
I don't think so. Why don't you like the conference rule? What do you mean? And Captain Cap'n says they started tanking at the end of the season because they couldn't make it. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good point. I agree but I still don't think they deserve.
So would you want that or not?
I want them to keep it the way it is, but that of all the changes, that would be the one I'd be okay with if it happened. All the rest of them I think are dumb.
I just think it adds entertainment value, it adds games, it adds money to the owners' pockets, it decentivizes tanking, it creates more of an emphasis to be in the top 6 instead of the top 8.
Yeah.
There's just so many positives there.
People's Mix is a Lakers fan.
Is he? Wow. Okay. I
Yeah,
didn't know. So
yeah.
props to him. Props to him for fooling me. But
I think he also got called out by Neela Madison the other day on. She showed some DMs.
oh no.
We
Oh
won't make fun of
no.
you too much about that, though.
Were they bad?
A little bit. He said he was
I'm gonna
joking
have.
afterwards, but
Oh yeah, of course you joking after they got leaked. Okay, I'm gonna have to look up Neela Madison right now. Dude's trying to slide on Neela. She don't even follow me. Screw her. I'm just kidding. I'll follow her. Let's see here. Media. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. I can't even say it out loud. Oh no, man. Oh my goodness. Um, I think he's trolling, but
sorry, man.
yeah,
I
I
didn't
don't
mean to
know.
bring that up.
I don't know. I don't know. He needs somebody to mentor him on how to
I don't know.
talk game a little bit better than that.
I don't know when people are gonna realize not to send her DMs like that because she has
I
no
think
problem
I think that's
posting.
probably why he said it. That
Yeah,
knowing she was gonna post them, and he was like trolling.
true.
She seems like kind of I don't know. I'm not gonna say anything bad, but there's a reason I don't follow her. I don't know. I don't know. The fact that she has like 6,000 plus followers, it just like makes me roll my eyes. Where's my 6,000 followers? I can post pictures of my butt too. Like,
All right, we get it. We're just making fun of you, people's mix. It's all good.
oh my god, you got exposed. You got exposed, bro.
He's a Laker fan, and
Obviously, if you ask if she has a D, then yeah, you're probably trolling. Yeah, I get that you're trolling. If you guys want to see what he was sending Neela Madison, just go on Twitter and search at Neela Madison, Nila, and then Madison. If you guys need me to spell Madison, then you guys are helpless. Anyway,
yeah, but people's mix, man. Quit retweeting all this Laker stuff. I'm sick of it all coming up in my feed.
yeah, I followed him, and then I saw some of that, and I unfollowed him. I appreciate the follow from you, but you guys, that I can't be having. And bro was tweeted like 20 times in a couple hours. I know I do that for games, but like, I'm a YouTuber, and I live tweet during games. That's my thing. Seeing a bunch
But
of Lakers stuff during a Blazer game and a bunch of retweets like that is like, I can't do that, bro. But
so
he's cool. He's cool for a Lakers fan then.
so the people's mix. The reason why we are not in favor of um, the being reseeded in the conference finals is because the teams don't play an even schedule. So,
Mm-hmm.
like all the teams in the West are at a disadvantage this year versus the teams in the East because they don't get to play all those crappy teams 4 times that they do, and we only get to play the East twice. So I wish it would just be left alone.
Yeah.
They're trying way too hard to make it so, like you mentioned this before, but this is the first year it might actually happen. But it might not even happen that way where the Lakers and Clippers could play each other in the finals. And
It's just like, what's the point of conferences then?
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, why? Like, they don't reseed after, and just like, why wouldn't they reseed after the first round in conference? Why wouldn't they reseed after the next round? Like, I don't know. It literally destroys the concept of the bracket, which is something that I like. I don't know. It's such a gimmicky thing. I don't understand it. Literally, they're just trying to get an LA versus LA NBA Finals, and it's so obvious, and it's so stupid because it's not even guaranteed. And then they have to win, and it completely destroys like conference championships. Like, what do you call that round then? That's like the Western Conference Championship and Eastern Conference Championship. Then what is it? The NBA semifinals? Like, you're seriously gonna call it that? It's just whack. It literally makes no sense to me, man. Anyway,
And-
we gonna wrap up this podcast unless you got something to add.
No, he just said at the end of the day he wants the 2 best teams to play in the finals. But look at this year. So everyone's saying that, but the Clippers have fallen down. They have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 best record. So that's not even guaranteed that they would.
Yep.
Be the second best team, and the Lakers might not get the top record. That might be Milwaukee, and so
and there's usually not 2 definitive top teams. You know what I mean? Usually there's like a pack of like 3-4 contenders. You know, like the Lakers, the Clippers, the Bucks. How can you pick the top 2 teams from that? Like right now, it's the Lakers and the Bucks. But like the Clippers, they load manage and stuff. Like once they're playing for something, they could be the best team in the league. Like, how can you definitively pick 2 top teams anyway? You can't. So, like, why do all this to try and get the 2 best teams when it's not even definitive who the 2 best teams are, and it's not even guaranteed that you'll get the 2 best teams, and it creates problems that you destroy conference championships. It's so stupid, man.
Well, it's like
I don't
like last.
I want to know who came up with this stuff.
Last year, you would have been basically rewarding the Bucks if you went back and changed it, because they would have gotten to play us, and then so they probably would have beaten us and gotten to the finals, and then
I thought the Raptors were a better team than them. Yeah. They beat them in a 7-game series.
So basically, you're rewarding them for not being able to beat the Raptors in their own conference, which is dumb. I think.
Yeah, it's dumb. So, anyway. Not gonna rant about this anymore.
Yeah,
it's
all good.
Readdress this as it got brought up. We're gonna wrap up this podcast. Game tips off in an hour and a half. Hopefully Blazers can get this win. If you guys don't follow me on Twitter, make sure to follow me at TorreyJonesYT. Follow Eric on Twitter at HoopsJock. Follow the channel at Blazers Uprise, because I'm using that to tweet out live streams now, and just to keep you guys updated with stuff on the channel. I'm trying to make sure I use that. I'll be live tweeting during tonight's game, so make sure to follow me if you guys want my live thoughts on what is happening out there on the Moda Center floor. So with that, this podcast is a wrap. I'll see you guys later. As always, peace out. Go Blazers.